It was interesting when he came to the baseball in episode 7. I, at that time, after the 93 season, was again the fourth outfielder, giving Bo Jackson those last couple innings off, or Tim Raines, Lance Johnson a day off against a tough lefty. Was asked by the White Sox to come down to the ballpark and help teach someone how to catch and throw a baseball. So I'm kind of scratching my head like, isn't that my job? I kind of like my job. Can you tell me who this is? Subsequently found out it was Michael Jordan. So in that episode 7, where you see him in the gym, there's a couple times, if you really stop, you'll see me in the background or me talking to him, telling him he's doing it right or wrong. Same in spring training. But the one thing that was most noticeable was in those first couple weeks, yes, here was the greatest basketball player of all time, but there was no baseball movement. There was no baseball flow. He was such a basketball player, and those movements and that first step, the explosion, was so important. But with that first step, you could tell he learned how to feel that person next to him. Do I need an arm bar? Can I just lean against him? Do I have to go a little bit harder? Do I want to fake and pull back for that jump shot? And now here I am, like, guess what? You're not leaning on anybody. You're all by yourself out here in the outfield. So when we work on that first step, we then have to continue that while you're looking over here, not feeling the ball and just looking at the basket or a couple people. The neat part was that he was so smart, and he had such that gift that for me, where with the high school kids, even with the best high school kids, it may take a couple weeks for this stuff to start settling in, where they kind of start to understand what their body should be doing. For Michael, it was like the third or fourth time I told him. Wow. Now, he still couldn't do it, but he was just starting baseball after 12 or 13 years. Yeah. So that was kind of the biggest thing, was seeing this just incredible basketball athleticism. Again, growing up here in Chicago and watching and loving watching those 3 championships. But it wasn't baseball athleticism. Mm-hmm. But what was neat was seeing in those sort of 6 to 8 weeks in the winter here, and then those 8 weeks of spring training, just seeing the progression. And I think everybody would say, when they ask me, well, do you think he could have made it to the major leagues? I'm like, no, not as I saw him. But he did some pretty amazing things in that first AA year that you can say 200 sucks. It does. But he hadn't picked up a bat in 12, 13 years. Mm-hmm. And that AA league was the most competitive of the 3 AA leagues. He had 30 stolen bases, which I'll bet if you look at that whole summer, there probably was 10 to 15 guys in the entire league that had 30 stolen bases or more. He had 50 plus RBIs. And again, of the 12 teams in that league, that everyone has guys 1 through 9 that were drafted all-stars, all-state. There might have been 3 or 4 guys on each team that might have had 50 plus RBIs. Yes. He had 50 RBIs. So he goes out in the fall and he hits 250. So who's to say he couldn't have? Because he was doing the things to get better and to put himself. It would have been fun if there was no strike to see what he might have done the next year in AAA, and I think that he would have learned as well. When he got to AAA, am I hitting 175 because the AAA pitchers are better, or am I hitting 245 because I learned in the summer, I learned in the fall, my defense is getting better, and maybe now I steal 35 bases, 40 bases, and now you could say, yeah, that's a guy that could probably play in the major leagues.
Right.
Work ethic.
Exactly. And he had that mentality. Mm-hmm. It was awesome. It was fun to be around.
When you got the